let's talk about the Doubling-Back Aversion. This channel is all about clear thinking, problem-solving, decision-making, and discovering those literal and metaphorical treasures. And that's why I like to get into cognitive biases and logical fallacies, because doing a little bit of understanding, doing a little bit of research and understanding how our mind works, we can better avoid some of the common pitfalls that find their way in our minds. So this Doubling-Back Aversion is a newer cognitive bias. Now, it's not new in the sense that it's something that humans have been doing as long as humans have been around on this planet, but it's new in the sense that it's been newly named or defined based upon some research that was done out of UC Berkeley in 2025. So here's the situation. Imagine you go outside of your house and you take a left to walk to the local grocery store. And as you get about a block down, you realize that you're taking the long route. And if had you gone right and taken another route, you could have gotten there in half the time. But you've already committed a block of walking the long route. So what do? Do you turn around, go past your house, go the shorter route, which would still get you there much faster, even though you started going the long route? Or, since you already committed to going the long route, you just decide that you're going to stay the course and go the long route, even though it's a less efficient, even though it doesn't serve you as well as the other route. Well, this newer cognitive bias, or more newly identified or named cognitive bias, points out that people consistently will choose to stay the course. They will go the longer route. They'll just say, well, I've already started this direction. I don't want to lose the effort that I put into that one block, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep going this route. No, in fact, they're losing more by staying the course. But that's how their mind works. We don't like to lose or waste effort that we've committed to something. We want it to be worth something and of value, and so oftentimes that will lead us to just stay the course when it's wiser and better to go the other route. Now, this is closely connected in some ways to the sunk cost fallacy, which you can check out my other video or videos on the sunk cost fallacy. I talk about it quite a bit. The sunk cost fallacy is this idea that once we commit to something, even when we discover that it's wrong, we find ourselves defending it, we find ourselves staying committed to it, just because it's too hard for us to accept the idea that all of that time and energy was devoted to it. Or it's just the way that our brains work. We get attached to our ideas, to our pet ideas and concepts, and we find ourselves believing in them, and we're doing a lot more believing than thinking in that way, even when the belief isn't substantiated by reality. So this turning back aversion is a similar thing, but it's different in that this isn't just about the fact that going left is completely wrong. It's not. You can still get to the store by going the longer route. It's just that it's the least effective, or it's the less effective route. And that is how we work. So imagine all of the efficiency that we lose oftentimes in our lives because we commit to a direction and it just feels too hard to backtrack. There's a mental resistance even when backtracking is the best path. This is something that I imagine we can find in all sorts of directions. Imagine that you start working on a project or a paper, maybe you're even a student, and you commit to an idea or a topic, and you get into it, and you've devoted an hour or two to the topic, and you find that in order to complete this, it's going to take a ton of work, and you're not actually interested in it, and it's not that exciting of a topic anyway, and you have the opportunity to sort of pivot the topic, to approach it from a different direction, to go another route, and it could be a much more powerful paper, it could be more interesting, it could be really valuable, but you've already committed to this one style or this one approach to doing the research, and so you don't consider the other route. Now, this isn't about abandoning the paper altogether. It's just about backtracking enough that you can choose a route that gets you even better results. And we can find ourselves doing this at home if you're working on a home improvement project, if you are trying to solve some kind of problem or puzzle, even in a gameplay, if you're part of one of these national treasure hunts like the John Collins Black treasure hunt that I have talked about quite a bit on this channel over the last year or so. It's a good thing for us to pay attention to because we're all susceptible to this turning back aversion, to the sunk cost fallacy. We just don't want to consider that maybe we wasted a little bit of time. So here's what I'd like to suggest. One of the ways that I believe we can help ourselves overcome these kinds of cognitive biases and fallacies is by reframing what we've learned. So imagine you walk out of the house and you take a left and you're going the long direction and you realize it. But you want to save time. You don't want to have to go twice as far to get to the destination. And so you consider backtracking, but now your brain is resisting. What if you were to reframe it and treat it as a lesson? What if you were able to say, oh, it took me a block to discover this, but boy, am I grateful for that block because now I've discovered it, and in the future, I'm going to be able to make a better decision. I'm going to get better results. So now you're giving some value and some merit to that block, rather than treating it as a complete waste of your time and your effort. You're treating it as a gift, as a lesson. And maybe that's just enough to motivate your mind to take the better course. I hope you find this useful. I look forward to your comments.